Hi, this is my story about my Greenworks Pro riding mower uh, adventure. I call it an adventure because it started in 2023 and it currently today is 2025, July of 2025. So this whole adventure has taken approximately 2.5 years to start and finish. So I'm sitting on my CRZ 428 zero-turn riding mower manufactured by Greenworks Pro Manufacturing. And you can see from the beginning of my video that it's a nice looking lawnmower. It works really good. I have nothing but good things to say about Greenworks Pro equipment, but my story started off with the CRT 428 Greenworks Pro riding mower, which is a steering wheel driven riding mower. And that was what I originally ordered, and that's what I originally received via shipping through Lowe's Home Improvement Store in Chicago. I ordered it online in 2023, in May actually. I didn't get it until almost the end of June that year. I don't have a lot of positives to say about Lowe's process. That's all I'm going to say right now. But finally, I get a call one day, and I wasn't home at the time. The person that was delivering my lawnmower, my riding mower, my steering wheel riding mower, called me. He was in the street in front of my house, ready to drop off my lawnmower. And I said, well, I'm only about 10 minutes from the house. I'll head home and meet you there. And he said, well, I was wondering if you had a lift that I could use to get the lawnmower out of the back of my truck. And I thought, well, that's why I had it delivered, because I thought it would be delivered by professionals. That's what I was thinking. And you should have everything you need to get my lawnmower off your truck. But he didn't have it. So the lawnmower was packaged, partially assembled, on a wrought iron skid, which was very sturdy, and it was well packaged. But this guy did not have the means to get the lawnmower off his truck for some reason. And since I told him I didn't have anything, he said, well, he'd figure it out. Well, I thought before I headed home, I would check my security cameras and see where he's at and what it looks like. I have security cameras in my yard, and I could see his truck parked on the street in front of my house. It was not an up-close view, but I could see him. And what he did was he pushed the skid as far out on the back of his truck as he could get it, and then he let gravity kind of pull it down. And I think his intention was to get it down far enough to the street that when he let go, it wouldn't, be too far. Unfortunately, it was a very heavy skid full of equipment, and one guy cannot hold hundreds of pounds of equipment. I can't believe it, but he got it down about 3 feet from the street, and it got away from him, and it just fell the rest of the way to the street. I literally saw on my home security camera the skid with my lawnmower on it bounce when it hit the street. I didn't see anything flying off of it. It looked like it made it, but that was 3 feet's a pretty far drop for something like that. Now this is an electric lawnmower, and I researched it. I looked up on it. It was It's really, you know, a good, wonderful kind of equipment and power, way to power with the new kinds of batteries they have. But anyway, I thought, that's electronics. The guy dropped my lawnmower 3 feet. Well, I was on my way home by that time, and by the time I got home, he'd already left. But I did have him on video. I didn't think to record it until after I saw him drop the lawnmower, but I had a recording of him. He had managed to get a manual hydraulic lift under the skid, and he pushed it up my driveway and put it right in front of my garage door and left. So when I got home, all I could, you know, there was my lawnmower, my riding lawnmower, which is this. Nice looking machine. It was on the skid. I didn't see anything loose or anything that looked broke or anything, but then keep in mind that's electronics. But anyway, I went ahead and unpacked it. I assembled the part that I had to assemble, like you have to put the seat on and you have to put the steering wheel on, and then you have to drive it off the skid, which you can do that if you have a little ramp, which I did. Managed to find a piece of wood in my garage that I could drive down it on, and it seemed to work okay. So I guess I wasn't really thinking that it might be broken, but anyway, so it seemed to work okay. And the very next day I decided I would use it to mow my lawn. So I got out and it worked fine. I finished mowing my lawn, great. The next time my yard needed mowing, I got out and I got 2 laps down and back in my front yard, and it just stopped. And I looked at the electronics. There's a gauge on the side of all their lawnmowers. It looks like this. And the little round circle, there's a, you know, a digital readout that shows if it's all charged up, and it usually shows 100% when the batteries are fully charged, like that. And the bottom right is the number of hours it's been ridden, and the flashing sign shows that it's ready to go. That looks the same on both the zero-turn mower and the riding mower, or the steering wheel mower. So anyway, my steering wheel mower just stopped after two up and down rows in my front yard, and I had to push it back to my driveway, which they're light. They're not that heavy, not like a gas-powered mower. So I managed to get it back, and I waited a while, and I tried to turn it back on again, and it looked fine again. It looked like it showed a proper charge, didn't show there was anything wrong. So I got back on it and I started riding again, and I got another couple of laps up and down in the front of my yard, and it stopped again. Well, this time I'm getting concerned. I'm thinking, uh-oh, that guy, when he pushed it out of the back of his truck, he did damage it. Now, I don't know for sure. I'm not an electrician and I'm not a electronics person, but you know, you drop something sophisticated like this 3 feet, something could go wrong. Well, anyway, I waited again the second time and I started up, and it worked, and I was able to finish mowing my lawn. Well, that was great. I thought maybe it's a glitch. So the third time that summer of 23, this was getting into early July, I got out to ride it, and I started going through the same thing again. It would run for a bit and then it would stop, and then I would wait, and then I'd turn it on and it would run, you know, till I was done mowing the lawn. And I thought, okay, it's working again. But this time I called the Greenworks Pro service people on their toll-free number, and I called and told them what was going on, and they were very nice. And now this whole 2.5 year process, whenever I needed help, I would call the helpline at their service center, and their service center is staffed by Canadians. Their service center is located in Canada. Now the actual manufacturing hub is located in North Carolina, which it says so on their printed material. But anyway, their service center is operated out of Canada. And if you've ever had anything to do with Canadians, you know they're really nice people, and they speak really better than Americans do. They don't have accents. They sound like professional newscasters who are just maybe working part-time at somebody's service center. They're wonderful people. They're nice. They follow the steps that Greenworks Pro requires them to do to help their customers. And so the first summer, these people talked to me and they gave me all kinds of recommendations, and I did them all, and I didn't have any more trouble with the lawnmower the rest of the season, which wasn't very much, only about another month and a half at the most. But I got through it okay. And I thought, well, maybe it was something I was doing wrong on the startup. So anyway, it sits in my garage, well cared for, all winter. Spring comes around 2024, and I decide, I wait until it's time it looks like the grass needs cutting. And so I make sure the batteries are charged. The batteries, it takes, it's an 80 volt lawnmower. It has 6 batteries in. You charge, you can do 2 at a time on a charger, a fast charger, and they provided all the batteries that were intended for the mower to use, and they provided 3 chargers, so they all worked fine. So I made sure the batteries were all charged up, and I jumped on the mower and drove it out of the garage to mow the lawn, and I went through the same process that I did the first summer. It would run for a while and then it would stop, and everything on the dial would read zeros or something. And it happened enough that I called their service people again. Well, this time they gave me the name of a local service center, and I called that guy, and he was nice fella. He lived somewhere about 60 miles from where I live, and he said he could come pick it up, but he was real busy. He wondered if I could just wait until his workload had got reduced a little bit. And I said okay. And in the meantime, it would work, what I would say, intermittently. That's one of the words in the operator's handbook, the owner's handbook, I mean, that the Greenworks Pro people use. You got to learn their vocabulary, because if you're going to talk to their service center people in Canada, they key in on certain words. So if you read the operator's manual or the owner's manual and use their language, Greenworks Pro language, they begin to understand what you're saying, and you understand where they're coming from. So anyway, I went through the same thing in 2024. It would run intermittently, but then it would stop for some reason, and it would show zeros and on the dials and everything, and I'd wait a while and I'd turn the key and it'd work again. I got through 2024 that way, and I didn't take it into the service center guy to actually work on it, even though he was one of their approved service center people, because he just flat out told me he was so busy he wondered if I could wait. And he said, since he knew it was working intermittently, and he thought if I could get through the summer, then call him up in the fall and he'd come and get it when he didn't have any other business to do. So, but by that time, at the end of the mowing season, I had stored my lawnmower up again with charged batteries. You want to, every time you use your mower, you charge up the batteries and put them back in, and apparently that's the way they want you to keep it. And it's in the owner's book. But so then I waited for the winter, and then this summer came around, and it was an early a lot of rain and everything in the first part of the spring, and the first week of May I thought it's time to get out and mow the yard. It finally had dried off, but the grass was getting pretty tall. And this time I got on the mower, it didn't make it to the end of my driveway and it stopped. And this time it wouldn't even, it would turn on, it would look like I'd wait a while and turn the key and it would say 100%. I jump on it, it would go a foot, no more than 2 feet, and then it would stop and everything was zero. And I knew this is worse than it was the first 2 summers. So I called the service center again in Canada, and they're lovely people, both men and women I was talking to over time, who were very easy to talk to and very helpful. When I would do whatever they asked me to do to see if this or that would work, and I'd end up saying no, that didn't work. They got at the end of the thing, they'd run out of ideas, so then they would say, well, I'm going to move this up a level and give you a case number, and somebody will call you within a couple of days. And they did. The lawnmower still wasn't working. So the next time I talked to service center people, I was really starting to get frustrated because I hadn't been able to cut my lawn except by using my old self-propelled mower. Now I'm in my mid-70s now. At the time I was early 70s, but I wasn't like that young 20 or 30-year-old guy that used to mow lawns all day long without feeling it. I feel it now if I have to do any real physical activity. So I was anxious to get it fixed. So after the second time of no results, I called the Canadian customer service people again. The person went through some steps again. I'm kind of familiar with it, and they recommended another service center locally. Only this time, the place, it was more of a professional. It wasn't a guy working out of his own home or his garage or something. It was a group called Bulldog Power Equipment in Monrovia, Indiana. And I'm mentioning them specifically because, golly, those people were really helpful. And the guy I talked to, his name is Will. And if you ever have occasion, I live in Indiana, so if you ever have occasion to call for help, I would recommend talking to those guys. They are approved service people. They know what they're doing, but they told me they have to follow the steps that the Greenworks Pro manufacturers service team, they have a small team, it turns out. They would get together and run ideas through their heads about the more complicated issues. And so they were, the Bulldog people came and picked up my mower. They took it to their place in Monrovia, which is about 70 miles from Bloomington. And the guy that picked it up, I think it was Will, he's a really, good guy. You could tell he knew what he was doing, and he was taking care and very professional. So I wasn't worried about my lawnmower in his hands. And but he had it like a week, and I ended up calling and saying, hey, how's it going? And he said basically, well, we've tried 2 things that they recommended. We replaced this or that module, 2 or 3 things, and he said none of those things have worked. And we called him back and said those didn't work, and what do you recommend that we do next? And they didn't hear back from Greenworks Pro people, their little problem-solving team, wherever that is at that point. I think those guys are located somewhere in North Carolina. I don't know for sure. So he said they were stumped. They were stuck waiting to hear back on what they should do next. Well, I wasn't going to wait another week. So I called the Greenworks Pro helpline again for service, customer service. And I got in touch with another really nice Canadian. I think it was a young woman this time. And she walked me through some things that I'd already done. And I said, no, we've tried that. And yeah, it's at this, it's actually in the shop, and these guys have been working with your service people, and they haven't recommended anything that works so far, and they haven't gotten back in touch. And she said, oh really? They haven't gotten back in touch? Well, I'm going to give you a new case number, and we're going to bump it up another level. And I thought, great. If they keep going, they might, get all the way to the top. But so she did that, and she, they're really nice. They send you a confirmation email. They're not just making things up. At least I was pretty sure they weren't. I was sure they were being totally professional on their side of it too. And so this lady said, young woman said, somebody will get back in touch with you in another day or two. And I thought, okay. So I waited, and I didn't hear anything. So I called back to the service guys at the Bulldog place, and he said that they did hear back from Greenworks Pro people, and they were recommending that they do replace another check. They recommended that they recheck this one module, the first thing that they had replaced that didn't work. And he said, well, we did it because they asked us to, but we got the same results. Nothing worked. It wasn't solving the problem. And he said we have to communicate via email with the Greenworks solution problem people. And he said haven't heard back from them. And by this time it was another week. Long story short, I finally got to the point where nothing was happening, and the Bulldog people were getting frustrated, and they were telling me that it's probably a defective piece of equipment for some reason. And he said, Will, the guy at Bulldog, said, well, we've done work for on their equipment, and usually it's, one solution works and everything goes. But he said, this is the first riding mower that we've had that nothing's working. And he said, really, that it may be just defective. And I said, well, what do I do? And he said, well, I don't know. We sent them an email. We haven't heard anything back. So I said, well, I'll call. I called them back again, and I said, I started using their language because it's in the warranty. The warranties, by the way, for the riding mower, once you receive them and register them on the warranty, they're good for 4 years for most of the major stuff, and provided you don't abuse your lawnmower. So anyway, the third time I'm talking to the Canadian person, and again it's another young lady, and she says, well, I'm going to bounce it up to the upper level and tell them that you've done everything, they're doing everything, and that you're saying it's defective and you just want a replacement, because that is the word to use. If you have a bad product that doesn't work, you're entitled under the warranty to ask for a replacement. Okay, don't use bad words. Don't tell them it's a piece of junk or anything like that, because they really are confused when they get a defective lawnmower. So anyway, they said that they would get back with me, and again within 2 days. And so I called the Bulldog fellow, Will, and I said, this is what they told me. They said they're going to get back within 2 days. And he said, great, we're hoping they get back with us too. So about 2 days go by, and I get a phone call from Will at Bulldog, and he said they've recommended that they replace your riding lawnmower with another one, that they've accepted that it's not fixable, it's defective. And so I said, great. And I had a confirmation email from the help desk in the Canadian customer service place confirming that. So they maintained touch whenever something, or contact whenever something new came up. And then so Will at Bulldog said, we've been told that they will deliver a replacement within 7 to 10 days. Now at this point in time, I've already gone 2 months in the summer of 2025. The mowing season in Indiana only runs till August or maybe early September, depending on the weather. If you're from Indiana, you're running out of time after almost 2.5 months total since I started. I started the process in May, and it was already July 1st. when they got to the point of accepting that it was defective and prepared to replace the old one. So, but they said they would do it, and all I could do was just wait. I was willing to wait the whole 10 days. But I didn't. It didn't happen in the whole 10 days. I think it was like on the 9th day of July 9th, because I got the confirmation they were going to replace it on July 1st. So on July 9th, I get a call from Bulldog, and they say, well, your lawnmower came in, but it's not a CRT 428, it's a CRZ 428, which is a zero-turn mower, which is different, and I've never driven one of those. And he said, that's what they sent us. Are you willing to take that instead? Now here's what it looks like. Most of you have probably seen a zero-turn mower in your time. Now, I'd never driven one, so I didn't know, but I said, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take anything. And believe it or not, within a couple of days, the Bulldog guys called and said, I wasn't even expecting the call so soon. They called back and said, it's ready to go. We can drop it off maybe this afternoon. This was this past Tuesday. Today is Friday, July, whatever the day it is now, I can't remember. I said, well, I'm not going to be home on Wednesday. I have something I need to do, but if you can't do it today, you can deliver it on Thursday, which was, basically 2 days ago from while I'm doing this video. Well, listen, Will at the Bulldog power equipment place said he knew how long I've been waiting. He got that mower ready, even though it was a zero-turn mower, but I said I'd take it, and they dropped it off that afternoon. My neighbor, who'd been keeping an eye on this thing for me, his name's Mark, he actually was walking by the house when they came by to deliver it, and he was down there before I could get down there to see the lawnmower. So anyway, Will had brought it personally himself back. He unloaded it and showed me he had all the batteries, the new owner's manual, but he had to tell me that the warranty that I had with the first one was only going to last until that one was over. So getting a brand new mower doesn't restart the warranty thing. So, I'd only have one more year of warranty on anything from this point forward. Next summer, that would be it. So, but I thought, okay, the riding mower with the steering wheel thing, that was defective, and that's rare, based on what Will had told me. Rare for their equipment to be that bad. And so, or that common, I should say. And so, I got it out yesterday, Thursday. I had it on Tuesday. I got it on Tuesday. I couldn't do anything on Wednesday. I got it out Thursday morning, and I had a couple of practice drives with a zero-turn mower up my driveway and back, just to make sure, because it's like driving a small tank. And if you've ever driven a tank, if you were in the military, you'd know the controls are, you have levers, and you push one track goes and the other doesn't, or the other track goes the opposite direction, so you can make these really quick turns. Well, this zero-turn mower is very responsive, and it comes with 2 speeds of movement. And I can tell you that if you're not experienced with a zero-turn mower, you don't want to go in the fast speed, the number 2 speed. You want to go in the low speed, slow speed, because if you make a mistake, it's not going to kill you. It won't tip over or run into, traffic on the road across the street. It's gonna, you're better off using just the slow speed, and go slow, because the further ahead of you drive those, you push those levers, the faster it goes, even in the slow speed. So, just so you know, I used the grass was a little wet, because in Indiana we had a lot of rain previously, and there's a big there's a lot of dew early in the morning, so the wet grass was kind of wet. But I thought other people I'd watched videos had mowed in wet grass, and so I thought I'll give it a shot. Well, it worked fine, but I used the slow speed, but I used the high mower blade. It's a 42-inch deck, which cuts a pretty good swath if you're not a commercial lawn mowing person. That's a pretty good swath. And but I used the high-speed mower blades because everybody said that if the grass is wet, it'll make a better, cleaner cut, and it sure did. And I got through my whole property, my lawn, and I have like a total ½ acre of grass that I can cut, that I have to cut. And you can just see some of my lawn. This is the backyard, my backyard. My front yard's actually bigger, but I'm not, you can hear some noise in the background. The power company is burying our power cables as I speak, so that's why I'm in the backyard. But anyway, so I got the grass cut, did a great job, no glitches, no problems, even going slow I didn't have any issues. And the zero turn thing is very responsive. Man, you can do a real circle around a tree with no real effort. I just tips. I'm planning on keeping this one. I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with this. I'm happy with Greenworks' methodical approach to customer service. It takes a while, but my tips are this: read the owner's manual carefully, read your warranty carefully, know what is or isn't covered, and if you have to call customer service, know that you're probably going to get connected with Canadians who are very friendly and the best kind of people. And if I could move to Canada, I would. I love those people. So thank you, Canada. Sorry about our current political situation. But if you ever have problems with a piece of Greenworks Pro equipment, call their customer service people, set a schedule. If you got to call them, they will get back with you, but if they don't hesitate to call. And always get a case number, and if you can, ask for who you're talking to. I never had to use the name to reference though, because they keep pretty good online records of service help. So, but anyway, my advice is when you're running a zero turn mower, keep it on the slow speed until you get really used to it. And you can use the high speed cutting blades, though it'll do a much cleaner cut. And even with a ½ acre of on my lawn, it only used about 50% of the battery charge by the time I was done yesterday. And I was very pleased with how it cut and how it operated, and I would highly recommend electric riding mowers because they're not loud, they don't require any real maintenance. You just have to make sure certain areas are lubricated, and they come lubricated, and your gearbox on a zero turn mower, you have lubricating fluid in the gearboxes for each rear wheel, and you can fill them and replace them easier than if you had a riding mower with a steering wheel. That one was, I did a video on that because that was kind of a process too. But on a zero turn mower, it's a lot easier to add, if you need to, oil to your gearbox. But you don't have to put oil in it until after the first 50 hours. And when you replace the oil that's in there after 50 hours, that's like 4 years worth of mowing in Indiana. But after that, you change the oil, it's good for 100 hours. I think it was 100 hours. Anyway, it's going to outlast me. I guarantee you. I'm 75 years old now, so I don't think I'm going to outlive this lawnmower, thankfully, because I think this is a good one, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to let you see me driving around my lawn a little bit and get an idea how it is. But I recommend it. But if you somehow get a defective piece of equipment, give their customer service people a call as quickly as you can. And the best time to call customer service at Greenworks Pro, the Canadian Center, is on the very first day of the week and the very first minutes after the call center is open. If you wait till late in the day or towards the end of the week, you're not going to get through, because apparently they have a lot of people calling. Now, I don't know if they're all like my story here, but I don't think so. I think they're just little things. A lot of people, they get this owner's manual and they don't even read it. And I've seen videos on YouTube where they talk about things, and all they have to do is read the label, like on the towing hitch or the little tool carrying compartment and in the back, to know how much weight they'll handle, and it's like they don't read it. So, you know, cut them some slack. But anyway, this is all I'll say is Greenworks makes some good equipment. Their electric, their batteries and everything are pretty good. I don't think, you know, it's no big deal. It's just you charge the batteries up 2 at a time on a fast charger. You get three chargers, so you can do all 6. Just don't do them all on the same circuit or you know, power box. Do 4 in one spot, but find another place to plug in the last 2, or you'll blow a breaker, honestly, because that happened to me the first time I tried charging. But there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good things about these mowers. They do work well, and I do recommend them. I also highly recommend, if you're in Indiana and you ever need help, the Bulldog Power Equipment people in Monrovia, Indiana, especially the guy named Will. They're really professional people and they do a great job. And I'm not going to run down Greenworks Pro. They make some really good products. I have one of their 14-inch chainsaws. I've never had any trouble with that. I have a leaf blower. It works great, and I think that's pretty much it. But you know, they make some good products, so I don't have anything bad to say about any of them. Plus, the Canadians, if I could move to Canada right now, I would. They're good people. Anyway, thanks.